Well, hello to everyone. It's a thrill for me to be here at the platform in Nigeria, on the continent of Africa for the first time, on Nigerian Independence Day. I want to thank Pastor Poju Oyemade and the platform team for giving me the opportunity to attend this great conference and to speak with you today. Mostly as the author of Small Move, Big Change, a book that Pastor Oyemade read and was the basis of his invitation for me to come here today. I also want to thank those of you who reached out to me through my website and through social media to welcome me in advance to this conference. Your well wishes allowed me to feel a bond with today's audience before I ever arrived on this stage. And when I think about the platform and the impact it's had and the ambitious objectives of the conference today and the distinguished speakers, I have to say I feel a sense of wonder that I'm here addressing you, and I feel very honored. So thank you for having me. This platform is, this year is a development conference, and I'm here to talk to you about developing our capacities. All human beings, everyone wants to self-improve. This is a universal aspiration. Individuals want to improve, enterprises want to improve, nations want to improve. The poet Ralph Waldo Emerson called this the endless work of self-improvement, this impulse towards progress. And indeed, it's in this quest to reach our full potential that we create vibrancy and wisdom in individuals, in nations, communities, and their institutions. But all change begins with the self, with the man or the woman in the mirror, so to speak. Our ability to advance our enterprises and institutions is directly related to our ability to evolve ourselves. So today I'm going to talk about the dynamics of personal change and how you can leverage those dynamics to make progress in your personal and professional life. My goal today as the author of Small Move, Big Change, in writing that book and in speaking with you today, is to share a system with you which allows you to turn aspirations into action. Aspirations into action. And I ask you to take a moment to consider how different would the future look if every time you resolved to change, you actually succeeded? So we are coming to that part of the year, the new year, which is a time when often we take stock of ourselves and our situation, and we resolve to change. And when we resolve to change, we resolve to make, resolutions that your grandparents would have understood. We resolve to be fit, to be organized, to be neat, to be on time. And these resolutions, the languages of these resolutions, if you listen to it, to be assertive, it's about being. We actually resolve to be different. And these resolutions are like wannabe resolutions. I want to wake up tomorrow after resolving and be different. They are really closer to wishes than they are specific calls to take action and to do differently in our lives. And after a few weeks, when we wake up on the day of our resolution and we say, okay, today I'm going to be organized, and we begin our day and we go to work all day long, we put a neon sign in our head that says, be organized, be organized. I'm touching something on my desk, well, that wasn't organized. I'm in the kitchen drawer, it's not organized. And after telling ourselves for weeks and weeks to be different, at a certain point, our will to change collapses, and we return to our previous routines. So if this has happened to you, you are not alone. 90% of people fail in their New Year's resolutions, their resolutions in general. 90%. People who have achieved a lot in their personal and professional lives fail when it comes to making one of these personal changes for themselves. And when we fail at our resolutions, we have a tendency to blame ourselves. We berate ourselves. We say, gee, if I were only stronger, if I had more willpower, if I had more strength of character, I would have succeeded. But in fact, willpower is not a character trait. Willpower is a neurological resource, and willpower is a scarce neurological resource. Every time you tap your willpower trying to be different, you are drawing down that resource. On top of that, willpower is part of a pool of resources, mental resources. It's actually a neurological phenomenon. Active initiative, decision-making, and willpower all occupy the same sort of mental resource pool. So during the day, when you're making decisions, you're drawing down that pool that's got active decision-making in it and willpower. When you show initiative, you're drawing it down. So it's no wonder when you think back to those resolutions we talked about in the beginning, to be fit, to be on time, all these different resolutions, that we are really setting ourselves up to draw down our willpower at a rate that we can't sustain. And that's why our willpower tends to collapse usually by March of the year we make our resolution. So that is one dynamic of personal change. To be successful, it's important to understand. Willpower is limited. So any system of change has to respect that it's limited and figure out how to focus that willpower like a laser target on something that you want to change. So that's one dynamic. The next dynamic is that basically your day is run mostly by a set of entrenched routines. Your attitudes, your preferences, the way you spend your day, and all of those routines are like a personal autopilot that runs most of your day. And that personal autopilot is good because if you think back to how limited these other resources are, like active initiative and willpower and decision making, you don't want to use those elite mental resources to go to the bus stop in the morning. Autopilot is going to take you to the bus stop. You can be deep in thought and you're going to end up there at the bus stop. Autopilot's going to tie your shoes for you. Everything that you learn to do as a child and going forward through intense practice and repetition is part of your autopilot. And so when you make these resolutions to change and be different, you are the bigger your resolution is, the more you're declaring war on your own autopilot, this thing that manages your day for you in a very, very efficient way. So what we want to do is to be able to understand how autopilot works and actually harness it to our advantage. But what's important to understand is autopilot is the antagonist of change. Autopilot works because it does everything pretty much the same way all the time. It's efficient. It's mindless. You don't have to think about it. So then when you try to change yourself and be different, you have this autopilot to contend with, which is always working its way to take you back to the routines you know so well.